All right. Welcome back to Kingdom Kast. This is your host, Super Champ Chuck. We back at it with another episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share all your social media platforms. Country is back on his Woody page once again. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But I'm going to introduce the panel here. I already introduced him. My guy Boogie's on the bottom left. My homegirl Kylie's on the bottom right. Welcome back, Kylie. And our boy D-Mac, he's going to be here in a sec. But we bring back another great friend of the show, host of The Ship, host of The Red Hour, my guy, the OG, Darren Smith. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Look, I'm glad to be in the service one more time, and this time we got a pretty lady joining us this time, so she wasn't here the last time. She was too big time for us last time, so
Oh,
glad she made time out of her Lollapalooza schedule. You know what I'm saying? To come join us for her own show.
I'm happy to be back. Are you kidding? I'm happy you're here too. Thanks for coming by.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Kylie's about to get that 15K here in a sec.
Ooh.
Yeah, she blowing up out here.
Ooh, I was gonna say, man, what kind of parlay slip she got going on?
I'll let you know. Don't worry. I wouldn't hold out on you.
Hey, OG, we've been rapping about that already. So I mean, you already know I'm ready.
Oh man, I just need these players to stay healthy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Exactly.
To stay healthy.
Exactly.
And they quarterbacks too.
Yep, health and wealth, man. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to the first things of business here. Recently, Chris Jones just came out from his Twitter page. He said that he responded to a tweet. He said that he's going to play this year out. Basically, he's going to play this year out, and we're just worried about getting this repeat. So that's basically the gist of it with his situation. So. First things first, OG, man. I mean, so like, how do you see this playing out, man? I mean, just him playing a year out and then go back to negotiation, or he just gonna get the bag somewhere else?
Ooh, that's a loaded question because to be honest, it's one of those situations where you don't know the kind of poker face that Brett Veach is up to because no one thought at the time that Tyreek Hill was going to be on the market and he was going to be gone last year, and then next thing you know, boom, got traded. 5 draft picks, and he got a new contract. So, I mean, with it being this late in the game, you could technically, I guess you could still trade Chris Jones, but I don't see how you would do it just because of the salary cap and people's rosters for the most part with that type of salary is already kind of like etched in stone. So I can't see a scenario where he's not on the team this year. If he plays it out, people talk about the Chiefs tagging him. I don't see a scenario where they would tag him and have to have $31 million in escrow just, waiting for him to be paid next year when you could just – because if you tag him, then all this is for nothing because you could have just gave him the contract where he gets paid that kind of money next year anyway, and the money he's going to get paid this year as well. So I do see a scenario where, as you mentioned, that could happen, but I highly doubt that he gets to that point. One, Brett V said he's not going to be traded. He says he's going to be there for the long haul. Could it just be smoke that he's blowing to reporters that he spoke with this week, or could he be honest about it? So I believe that a deal will get done. Look, I would like for it to be a 5-year deal. People say on the D line you're going on the wrong side of the 30, but as we've seen, Chris Jones has gotten better every single season. So I can't see a scenario where he signs a big contract and then just falls off. He's not Ezekiel Elliott, he's not Todd Gurley, where they get the big money deal and they fall off. I think that for me, I think that the issue becomes how much is guaranteed in a number of years, since they can kind of spread out that money over the requisite years that needs to be had between the two.
Well, let me ask you. Well, let me ask you this. I mentioned this last week on the show. Mentioned how Chris Jones's defensive wins after replacement shot up in comparison to his previous years when he's here at Kansas City. And that's not to say that he wasn't a good player. He's always been a good player. He's always been one of the best defensive tackles in the league. I mean, do you think that Brett Veach just wants to see that performance once again? You know what I mean? Just to see if he's still at his peak.
No, I don't think it's that. I mean, look, I trust the Chiefs as far as I can throw them, but I try not to throw too many people around after, especially after what we saw last week in Mobile, Alabama. But it's just one of those situations where He did bring up a scenario with Tyreek Hill that knowing if they were going to have to pay him, it was going to be an issue with paying Chris Jones. So that was one of the reasons why they got off of the Tyreek Hill contract. So you say that publicly means to me that you're going to have to get a deal done. Because you can't. Well, and let me just go back. For me, signing the contract extension that Patrick Mahomes that they signed him to, Brett Veach and them said that the purpose of them signing him to that long-term deal was so they could keep the core group of players, Chris Jones, Tyreek Hill, those type of players, together, saying with the Chiefs for as long as humanly possible. Well, they've done that, but how many players have been in? Now Tyreek, had he got an initial contract extension. I believe Kelsey got one as well. I know last year his was kind of restructured, and then Chris Jones, of course, after Mahomes signed his deal, got his contract extension as well. Now, I tell people going back to the playoffs at the year that they won the Super Bowl, if you remember, Chris Jones did not play in that first game against Houston.
Right.
Had the team lost that game, they weren't going to re-sign Chris Jones because it's like, well, if you wasn't going to play and we lost, shit, we don't need you anyway. So you saw how he got back on the field. Played well against Tennessee, before playing well in the Super Bowl, and so that's something that has been mindful. And I tell everybody, and the proof is in the pudding. Chiefs don't win and go to Super Bowl last year without Chris Jones and that sack that he had on the fourth down. Because if Joe Burrow completes it, they extend the drive because that was fourth down. They extend the drive, perhaps get in field goal range. And look, we all know what happened 2 years ago when the Chiefs lost that game. So, they're in the Super Bowl because of Chris Jones and obviously Frank Clark and a few others, and it goes both ways. But they don't win that particular down, that matchup, and what and how it clinched it for the Chiefs if he's not on that field. So, at the end of the day, if you're going to be that arrogant enough to say, well, I got to see it one more time, I don't believe that. I don't believe it will happen because they said the same thing about Tyrann Mathieu, and he ended up on a whole other team as a free agent. So
I hear a lot of people saying, like he's still staying in shape. We shouldn't be worried about him not being in shape. But I'm concerned from like a morale perspective, from a locker room perspective. How concerned are you about him holding out this long from a morale perspective? And then also, how concerned are you that he won't be ready to play come time?
I think he'll be ready to play. It's just my opinion. I think he just doesn't want to be in training camp. I kind of get the gist. Travis Kelce doing all that fighting stuff. He don't want to be in training camp either. But he's on the contract and he wants to be there. And he's already and see. I could go to a deal about Mahomes' contract and Travis Kelce, whatever. But I don't think it's anything about morale because I think what it is that you get a chance. Look, when Chris Jones shows up, he's going to start, he's going to play. But as long as he's not there, it gives other players a chance to step up and have an opportunity to show what you can do on film in his absence. Now, and look, Brett Veach is someone who's pretty good at scouting as well. So if you see, if whoever I'm looking at the lineup here, Daniel Wise, Hamnu, some of these other players that's on the second and third string, that's an opportunity for them to step up and to show what you can do when the opportunity presents itself. The Chiefs have always said over the years, and this basically came from Eric Bieniemy, that they coach their backups to be starters. So if Chris Jones is not going to be here throughout preseason, well, you got a chance to show what you can do. Now, when he comes back, you might not make the team, but what you put on film, another team might want to, might bring you on board if the Chiefs get rid of you. So I just think that this is a good audition for other players while Chris Jones is not there. And one thing to keep in mind, he wasn't going to play a whole lot in preseason anyway. So, he'll probably play if the starters play this weekend, they'll probably play, one or two drives and then they're on the sideline. So it's not much preseason game action that he was going to see, regardless of whether or not he was holding out.
Yeah, I just saw that comment about his agent replying with a smiley face. I didn't see that one. So
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it's man, Chris is I think once you get him in the building, all that stuff go out the window. You know what I'm saying? And I think when he get in the building, he gonna come to play. He doesn't look like the guy that is slack, and he know what we trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So I think he knows. And if he want to get paid from somebody else, you got to show up. So he got to keep playing. You know what I'm saying? So,
and one of the things, Country, that he talked about for the last year, he's always wanted to win Defensive Player of the Year. Well, you can't win it if you ain't playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was runner-up or third, for Defense Player of the Year. So, obviously we see what Michael Parsons is talking about, what he wants to do. So I think this is a good opportunity, actually the best years ever for Chris Jones, because if you want to show your value, and obviously if you want to get paid, and whether you get paid before the season or after, you come and you put up a DPOY, year where you get named the Defense Player of the Year, Chiefs ain't gonna have no choice but to pay you. And if they don't, well, that's another show.
I mean, did he do that last year though?
Oh, you ain't got. Hold on.
Well,
You ain't got to defense me because I said, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl without his play. So, I mean, there was nothing to prove for me. Now, look, I'm also old school. My man's under contract, $20 million. Show up and play. But I'm old school. But I look. But like going to last year, he wants an extension. This is the way they do it. I don't agree with it, but I ain't upset at him either.
Look, I mean, I can see it from both sides at the end of the day. I mean, Chris Jones, I understand from his perspective, asking for what he wants just based on the production and all that. And then I can see it from the Chiefs standpoint, like, we want to try to find ways to work around the cap. Like, could you maybe do 28 or 29 million a year?
Hey, man, look, man, this is what I'm telling you. Look.
Yeah.
It's not Chris Jones' responsibility to figure out how to work that salary cap. That's
right.
That's what Brett Veach get paid to do. He is supposed to get paid to go on what we see him do out there on the field. And the other thing, at the end of the day, the salary cap is really just a legal way for the team to be money laundering, because all they're doing is moving money down, down the years. I mean, down the road. So, I mean, it's like pay the man, figure all that other stuff out, when it's time. Because everybody's talking about, well, they're not going to have money for players next year.
Who cares?
We worry about next year when next year get here.
Respectfully.
Because Creed and Trey Smith, they're not going to be getting $20 million, next year, because their position just doesn't jump up that high. So, I mean, they've got money. And, people talk about, could it be L'Jarius Sneed last year? Could be. But, I mean, I will give the Chiefs credit for this. They have done well these last 2-3 years with drafting players. And one of the things that I remember talking about on the Cleveland show is that what they do is they draft these players and just put them out there right away. I mean, so you're getting, you're mixing them in with the veterans. We see like Pacheco. Look, I don't think Pacheco's going to see a second contract with the Chiefs. I'm going to put that out there right now. He's going into year 2, but he's a 7th-round draft pick. And so they got maximum value for him as a 7th-round draft pick, helping help the team win the Super Bowl. So by the time he gets to year 4, if they don't work out a contract extension, they'll let some other team go out and pay him. So that's what they're doing. They're drafting these players, mix them in with the veterans, allowing them, so by the time they get into the real games, mix them in preseason, mix them in as we saw Watson do in the second game against the Los Angeles Chargers last year. He ran back interception, return for a touchdown, helped the Chiefs win that game. So you're getting maximum value on rookie deals, that you don't have to pay a whole lot of money for. So after 3, 4, or 5 years, you can move on from it. The difference, all you do is watch and repeating.
The difference, though, is like you said, Chris Jones is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Is it really gonna be that easy to replace him? We know Tyreek, understandable. We know none of them was gonna be Tyreek, but we knew with Pat there, Kelsey there, we knew it was gonna be easier. With Chris Jones, it's a big void if you let him go, leadership wise, talent wise.
I agree. I agree with that, but there's always a turnover from other teams each and every year. Perfect example, you look at the Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett. Obviously, he's going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, but he needed help on that defensive line. They went and got the D lineman from Minnesota, who the first half of the season had 9.5 sacks. He was going to be Defensive Player of the Year at the time. Darren Smith is
Darren Smith.
Yeah, and so now he's on there, and so so now you kind of pick up that D line on this. So not to say that they can't move on from him, because we saw that they were able to do it with Tyreek. It depends on, but here's the thing: if they were going to move on from him, it would have made sense to do it before the draft, because you could have got some draft capital, and you could have drafted,
his replacement,
a replacement, in the in early in the rounds versus the 6th round. So again, I think it could just be chess moves between Chris Jones and the organization. But if they do move on from him, I do believe that there's a plan in place for that.
How
But
much?
again, I will say this. Okay, you don't want to pay the man $20-some million, but what's going to happen is they're going to try to use that money to pay for somebody else, somebody that's younger coming off of their first contract, which is fouled up because the man helped you win 2 Super Bowls, get the 3 of them, perhaps even the 4th one now. So we'll see.
And by far your best defender and most consistent defender.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much? And I want to ask the room, how much do you think? And it's always business first. At the end of the day, it's always business. But how much do you think losing Frank Clark to Denver? It feels like when Frank Clark went to Denver, everything just like started at the beginning again. And it was like all of a sudden Chris Jones wants $30 million instead of just wanting to be the second player right under Aaron Donald. Like everything changed. The whole language, the whole scene looked different once Frank Clark went to Denver. How much did that hurt us? But him not having his contract in place, we weren't able to sign Frank. So is he sort of at fault for that too?
No, well, here's the thing. Frank, they wanted him to restrict his contract again, so they wanted him to take another pay cut. So so it was, remember he signed a 5-year deal. I think there was like $100-some million, and I think between the 60. He had a lot of it that was fully guaranteed. And so once his guarantees ran out after year 3, he was still under contract, and he was going to be a huge cap hit. So instead of him cutting the cap hit, he took, he restructured his deal. I think he got paid like between $7 and $9 million. But they wanted him to take another, in which he had to kind of take the deal because of his off-field issues. But when it came time for his last year, it was easier for them to just move on, even though they wanted him to stay, but they want to take another discount. It's like, no.
Well, I mean, he only got $5 million from Denver. I'm saying, like, we could have did well. I mean, if Chris deal would have been done, we would have had the cap space to do that.
No, but Frank was already under contract.
I know, but we cut him, right?
Yeah, you save money, but I'm saying, but he still has money on the books that saying that's for the dead cap hit. So he's still on the books, but that's I still haven't figured out how this damn salary stuff works. But yeah, I'll go ahead.
Yeah,
man, I feel like Frank Clark. Like he said in an interview, and I forget who it was, but he said, I knew right away once the season was over that they weren't going to bring me back. Like I knew that wasn't going to work out and I wasn't going to be here next year. And then in the timeline of events, then you see Chris Jones saying like, we want him back. So for me, I think there was still like Chris kind of knew that they probably weren't going to bring him back. So I don't know that really impacted him asking for more money so much.
But don't you feel like it all kind of switched right after that though? Then the energy like switch a little bit to y'all. Y'all didn't feel that?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe for me personally as a fan, because you didn't expect it.
Yeah,
we all thought he was coming back, and then he goes to Denver, so it's like double gut punch. So maybe the energy shifted that way, but I don't know that Chris was completely oblivious to the fact that he was going to be going.
They talk all the time, so I mean, it's not like he didn't know. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people knew. People knew that McCole and some of these other players weren't going to be here either. And what's interesting, I know people kind of shit on McCole or whatever, but the Chiefs didn't even offer him a contract extension or anything like that. Granted, he didn't play in the Super Bowl, and maybe that has something to do with his availability. But but really, that draft class of 2019, I think it's only maybe one player that's still here from it.
Yeah, and and Chris, like, we saw that Frank Clark signed with Denver. He congratulated him and stuff, but then he was like, dang, why he had to go to Denver, though. But at the same time, you still support his brother. But I don't think the energy changed that much, personally, when that happened. That's just me.
Man, I ain't never hear about $30 million till Frank Clark went to Denver. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't think it was the Frank Clark thing. I think just the longer you wait and the more that you are negotiating, you start leaking stuff through the media when you're not getting what you want. So now you thought he was gonna take that deal. Now all of a sudden he wants to be the highest paid. And I think it's on both sides too. I think Chris Jones' agent is leaking stuff, and I think the Chiefs are leaking stuff. So I think they just negotiating through the media. That's what they do. So I don't think it was more Frank Clark.
Because all the fans was like, we just waiting for Quentin Williams to get done. That'll show us where we at. That'll show us where we need to be. And then all we have to do is just go over that one, and then we good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for it to stretch out to as long as it has, it's like, what's going on? Like, why did the energy switch? You know what I'm saying? Like, he should have been signed the next day after Quentin Williams was done.
I got a question for the room. Country, my fault.
No, you good. You good.
Which one do y'all think is more realistic? The Chiefs lowballing somebody or Chris Jones trying to be the highest paid player?
That's tough.
I think
that's tough.
I think it's the Chiefs lowballing.
It's definitely the Chiefs.
Just basically what history has told us in the last few years. Like we let go of Tyreek because we didn't want to give him what he was asking for. We couldn't come up with a deal for Orlando Brown, and we let him go. So I think what history's told us is that that Brett Veach has a line and he won't cross it. I don't know if that's the case with Chris Jones. They might be closer than we think. They may not be closer, but history's telling us that maybe they're lowballing.
History shows it. I just feel like, Chris Jones, I mean, it's a little different because, like, he's the captain of the defense. Like, with Tyreek Hill, I mean, you can get away with that because, I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes and you got Travis Kelce. I mean, two guys that's going to make the entire offensive group better. With Chris Jones, he's like the anchor of that defense. And it's like, without him, like, who else is going to step up? Who are you going to depend on next? Nick Bolton? He's the new leader of the defense. Justin Reed? What, you going to depend on the young Brian Cook? So it's a little different. But I get
it. Do you think – I have a question. Sorry, Country.
No,
do you think that Chris Jones – we know he'll be on the team this year. Do you think that his play is affected at all by the loss of Frank Clark?
No. Oh,
no.
Not if he wants to get paid.
No.
You can't.
No.
Nah.
Right.
No, I don't mean like emotionally. I just think like on the field, I'm asking like without Frank Clark next to him on some of those downs, do you feel like it'll affect or impact his play at all?
Nah, because I mean he opens it up for everybody else anyway. He closes up the gaps. He's tough against the run. He takes on double teams. He can line them up on edge. You can do all kinds of stuff with Chris Jones. I mean, I don't think the loss of Frank Clark is going to affect Chris Jones.
And then you got a Minihue. Then you got a Minihue that helps Chris too. So to kind of frees Chris up a little bit too.
So we're not going to see him the first 6 games.
Right. He got a little suspension.
Yeah, well, I mean, down the line that'll come.
But I agree with Country. I think, especially if we go get Dunlap or another veteran like we've been doing, I think we better at pass rusher this year than we was last year with Frank Clark. I mean, Frank Clark played good in the playoffs, but we can't forget all season he wasn't the same Frank Clark. So it wasn't like that was just because of Chris Jones or just because of Frank Clark. Chris Jones then showed us he done did it with Bob Sutton. He done did it with Spags. We know what Chris Jones is to me. He didn't prove enough. I don't know what else he got to do. So no, I don't think it's because of Frank Clark.
Here's the question that needs to be answered by Brett Veach in the front office. If Pat Mahomes is the king of your offense, Chris Jones has to be the man on the defense. Like he is the Pat Mahomes of the defense. And he needs to be paid as such, period, bottom line. Or do you just, as a fan, we think, give him $32 million. Who cares? Just keep him there. But when does it become front of the jersey versus back of the jersey? You feel me?
I would say that if I can, I think at the end of the day, they feel like Patrick Mahomes.
Yo, shout out to that. We need a sound effect.
Yeah, sorry to
appreciate that.
But that was our very first super chat. Our very first super chat.
You should have me on more often, man. I bring you the money. But no, I'm sorry. But going back to what I was about to say is that, I mean, this is a situation that, if Clark Hunt wants to pay, I mean, look, even though Clark Hunt says that Brett Veach is, it's what Clark Hunt wants to pay, and if he feels that there's a number he's not going to go above, it's just not going to happen. And I mean, we just get to a situation where I don't know, man. I get tired of trying to fight the fight for either the players or vice versa because I see it both ways. And look, I mean, I do see a scenario where the Chiefs are willing to move on from because at the end of the day, they feel like Patrick Mahomes is the one that is bringing butts and putting them in the seats. And but again, if you plan on trying to save money by not signing Chris Jones, where's that money going? Is it going back into Clark Hunt's wallet? I mean, because you got the salary cap, you got to pay players and try to utilize the salary cap. But the thing is, you don't have to spend the entire salary cap. That's the flip side of it. Because New England, while Tom Brady was there, never utilized the entirety of the salary cap except for once. That was it. So where all that money is going, we don't know. So again, for me, I say pay the man. I think he's worthy of it, and he's done what needs to be done.
And to me, that's one of the biggest problems because, like we said, Mahomes is not the top paid quarterback. Kelsey's not the top paid tight end. Like at some point, you got to start paying these players. We can't keep saying no. We're not gonna pay everybody because Mahomes not getting paid. You got to pay somebody.
Well, look, I'm a feel a certain kind of way if after Joe Burrow signs this contract extension, if they turn around and then announce that Patrick Mahomes is now the highest paid player, I'm gonna feel a certain kind of way. Like, wait a second, man, I get it. He's underpaid, and Clark Hunt, to his credit, said he's probably always going to be underpaid. He's only in year 2 of that 10-year deal that he signed. And so he specifically has said that he doesn't need the money because he's got the money. He's got other money. So he's fine with it. His thing is to be surrounding him with players. And again, he just said last week that, the money's there to sign Chris Jones. Chris Jones should be signed. So
I was just about to say that, Patrick already made it clear that he left some money on the table just to get Chris Jones in there. I mean, he stated that in the media. Like, Darren, you was there when Patrick Mahomes said all that. He said, look, I want to get Chris Jones up in camp as soon as possible. So I'm not really worried about my contract right now.
Are we at the point where it's just trolling on both sides?
No.
I mean,
this is real.
That scenario. Yeah,
I mean, it's real, but I'm saying Casey, I love you. All good things come to an end. Stay strong, carry on. The agent is tweeting smiley faces. Like,
I mean, I truly believe he just.
What are we doing right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing right now? He's at the airport. Why are you tweeting that? You are Instagramming that. Like, is it playfulness? Because we all know Chris is a playful guy. So, or is it a bit of trolling, a bit of poking at the fans to keep my name alive, keep your name out there, keep me in the middle of the conversation? Nobody's forgetting about me because every couple of days I'm tweeting something or I'm doing something. Like, what are we doing right here? And then we can Chris Jones, like, he'll end up signing by the end of the episode. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see that happening. I can see it all happening. You know what I'm saying? Like DJ Scratch. Yes. Subliminal messages. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think it's necessarily that.
Doing?
I don't think it's necessarily that, but this is just a serious moment. He just tweeting through it. He's just a regular guy. It's just his contract is being negotiated through the media. So he's using that to help his side while he's negotiating too.
He's going to get, in my heart, he's going to get a contract. It's not going to be 30. It's going to look like 30. It could get to 30. It's going to be some incentives and some escalators in there. It'll probably end up over 30.
That funny math. It's going to be that funny math.
It's going to look crazy. You know how it is when a contract gets signed. The first hour, all the fans are going to be like, oh, my God, what will we do? And then when you look at the contract, it's going to be like, oh, okay.
Well, see, hold on. Now, it depends because you got to remember, Chiefs fans were like, well, why would they pay Orlando Brown $136, $139 million? But how much of that
ain't Orlando Brown, though.
No. What I'm saying is, when they put that out there, it was for 6 years, $136, $139 million, but only 2 years was guaranteed, and it was like 30 something. So so again, you just you got this big ass number, making it seem like I'm gonna get paid $140 million, and I'm not. I'm only gonna get paid my signing bonus in the first 2 years, and then the Chiefs can get out of it after year number 3. I mean, so I can see a scenario where the Chiefs try some dumb shit like that, but but Chris Jones ain't falling for it.
I think, man, I think the Chiefs are seeing, even though Charles is suspended the first 6 games, I think they seeing improvement from George. I think they like what they seeing from Felix. I think Mike Dennis, he needs to put it together, but I think they see the talent. But when you add Chris Jones into that, I think we got the basis for being a special defense. It's not really a weak spot in the entire defense if you just add Chris Jones.
Well,
You
let's
add
slow down
Chris
on.
Jones tomorrow, the D line looks way better. The linebackers already look solid from what we can tell. The secondary, I know Boogie think they're young, but they've been thrown in the fire, and there's a lot of talent out there. And then you got Nick Jones, who comes out of, we don't know where Nick Jones came from. So I think you add Chris Jones to that missing piece, and you got a special defense, man.
Yeah, but keep one thing in mind. The Chiefs won these Super Bowls with quote unquote average defense. So it's not like adding Chris Jones. You're going to get a top 5, top 10, Baltimore Raven type defense to go along with this offense. The key,
No.
I'm saying he adds something to this defense, but we still got to kind of keep look. You take Aaron Donald away from the Rams defense, we see what that is. But now we literally have to see what Chris Jones is going to be like away from this defense to maybe have a greater appreciation for what he brings to this team.
That's dangerous, though.
No. I get on. I'm saying that's the flip side of what this holdout could mean if it drags on into the season.
Yeah.
Because he may want to try to play a game of chance like that. I wouldn't, but
okay. Last thing, and then we can move on from Chris. The Justin Houston thing of when Justin Houston was negotiating and Eric Berry was negotiating, and it got ugly, and Clark Hunt had to come in at the last minute and wrap the whole thing up together and save it. And now everybody wants Justin Houston back, but Justin Houston ain't messing with the Chiefs.
He
know
already
what I'm
signed
saying?
somewhere.
No. I'm saying I don't want it to become that type of situation where Clark got to come up off the bench and save this entire situation because it's deteriorated between the GM and our star player.
Well, he's
Like
the one
that.
holding it back, though, right?
Dorsey did the bad deal. I mean, well, look, man. Technically, again, Chris is under contract, so
Right.
I mean,
True that.
Brett Veach don't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? So if he decides not to play, that's him giving. He's going to be giving back money, and he's still going to be. And the problem is that if he doesn't play at all this year, his contract still rolls over next year. So he'll still be under contract for not playing at all. So I mean,
he has to
and he's
play.
not doing himself any favors for
Not
getting a
whatsoever.
contract next year either. So yeah.
Right.
So he has to
Okay,
play.
I'm talking about. I didn't want Veach and Chris Jones' relationship to be. I'm here, but man, this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't want it to become that kind of situation.
This is all. At the end of the day, Brett Veach worked for Clark Hunt, and
Facts.
so this is business. And once you put your feelings into it, Chiefs fans, anything else, that's where you start getting disappointed.
Yeah. So that being said, before we go ahead and move on, I just want to reiterate that Quentin Williams he got the second highest per year at $24 million. And I know his signing was $47.8 million. So I mean, those are two avenues that you're looking at right now. I mean, I know Aaron Donald's the main guy at 31.6 M's per year and 46.5 guaranteed at signing. So we'll see how it plays out, man.
And I will say this: if he does get a short-term, long-term deal, it would be added on. So he would technically be under contract, at least get 3 fully guaranteed years this upcoming season because he's going to get paid if he plays $20 million, and then whatever contract he signs, if it's 2 or 3 years that are quote unquote fully guaranteed, he'll at least be here 4 more years before they can get out of his contract if they sign to an extension.
Man, can I ask y'all a dumb question though? Is it kind of cool that is it kind of cool as Chiefs fans that this is the only thing we have to worry about?
No.
Okay.
That's kind of a big thing.
This is
I mean,
this
but
is
I
a
know it's a
big
big
thing.
thing.
Hold on, wait a second. Hold on, wait a second.
No,
Is that a
Boogie,
dumb
Boogie.
I'm
question?
not a Chiefs
But
fan,
Is that a
first and
dumb
foremost.
question?
So let's
okay, yeah. You wanted Deshaun Watson in the draft.
No,
Boogie,
well, yeah, that's
we
fine.
we
But no,
went we went
hold on,
through.
country. Hold on
You
for a
did
second.
want Deshaun Watson.
No, hold on. I don't deny that. I don't. So what? I told his daddy that. So what? Everybody thought he was going to be here. But what I'm saying is, when you say Chiefs fans, I gotta just put.
Okay,
the brakes on.
so we're all media members. Can we say that? I don't know what you want
Yeah,
me to say. I don't know.
sure.
Okay, so the
Go
four of
ahead.
us and then him. Okay, so
That's better.
no. What I'm saying is you're not worried about. You're not like, man, Chris Jones and dang, these linebackers. Or Chris Jones and oh my God, our safeties suck. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the only thing I'm worried about is signing Chris Jones. I'm not worried about anything else. You feel what I'm saying? Am I tripping?
I have like a slight concern about left tackle, but this is like the
That's
Chris
fair.
Jones thing.
That's
Right,
Is
you're
a
not
big
alone,
thing.
Kylie. There's many
Yeah.
people that
Yeah.
feel about
Just
that.
like a
We hear
small
what
little thing on the other side of the ball.
But speaking of that though, Kylie, I haven't heard anything about him. And for offensive linemen, that's a great thing. If we was hearing Donovan Smith, oh God, Donovan Smith, like I would
A
be
lot of
concerned.
people, including the players, man. I mean, they think this is the best offensive line that he's had, that Mahomes has had since he's been here. So that's saying a lot. And so, but now, yeah. So that's I'm gonna agree with that.
It's very significant, David.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is bigger than. I mean, the Bengals got Burrow hurt, but I'm looking at any other team. Buffalo, Chris Jones missing time would be bigger than any other story to me
Are you talking
of
about
any
this year?
contender.
You
Yeah,
talking about Nah, Burrow got himself hurt. That wasn't.
no, I'm saying
You talking about
he's
the
hurt,
past.
so that's a big deal for the Bengals. At least they thinking like, okay, Joe Burrow's gonna start the year. He might miss a couple games. But if Chris Jones, that's a big deal, man. If he don't
Let
play,
the record show that was not Orlando Brown's fault, because I know people like to hate on Orlando Brown.
It wasn't even his side, man.
I'm just saying,
Right,
folks
right.
try to find a way to head on. But going back to one of the points that I think one of you all made a few months ago about Chris being absent is that, again, Chris doesn't make us Spags. The Chiefs defense is based off of Spags' scheme, and so it's so we got to see what these players who are backing up Chris or who replaced him at the moment, see how they perform in that system. And the fact that you had all those players last year come in that are new to a system that excelled in it, and now they got the year underneath their belt on it. Man, I think the defense side of football is going. I think Chiefs are going to be fine, man. I just really just hope that people just calm down, take a breather. You know what I'm saying? This is all business. And I think everything gets done with Chris Jones before the season starts. I really think he just don't want to be a training camp.
Yeah, some people have said that. Some people have said that. So
he's getting to the age where he can skip training camp.
I mean, shit.
That's Chris Jones. Chris Jones has earned skipping St. Joe.
Trust me, I've been skipping St. Joe. I know the feeling.
I'm not skipping St. Joe for $800K though.
Right.
I mean,
fair.
That's just me.
Hold on. The man's already made over $70 million. So
Dropping the bucket.
I hate losing money too, but
he got that. Look, I ain't losing money gambling. But if I got $80 million, hey man, trust me, I'm gonna be.
Hey, if I was losing 50,000 a day, I'd have been there with quarterbacks and rookies reported. I'm here, y'all. Don't find me. I'm here.
Trust me, my advice would have been to hold in. I'd have came to camp and just been sitting on the sideline.
I would have been setting up the tackling dummies when I got.
Trust me, I don't mind gambling and losing the money, but I'm not just gonna give it away.
Yeah.
That's
hey, Darren, you would have been there sitting on the sideline doing bicep curls with the folding chair.
Man, I'd have been swinging it and thinking I'm on drum line, I'd have been doing all that. I'd have been ready for somebody.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to another subject. So, I know you haven't been at St. Joe every day, Darren, but you have been there a few times. Peeping what's been going on. So, like, who are some of the standouts from your perspective at camp so far, from what you've seen in person?
But I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, the biggest thing, and I know we've been on some spaces that I've said that I've always been looking at the second year players and some of the rookie players just on the defense side of football, because that's where, for me, is going to be key. And Spags said this past week, which I'm glad he did, is that what they're going to be looking at, coming out of this game is tackling. I mean, there's been some preseason games over the last few years where you'd be like, damn, what are y'all doing in St. Joe? I mean, ain't he supposed to have the hardest training camp? But y'all can't tackle worth the shit. So, so this is going to be it. So for me, that's what I look at. I just look at the little things, the footwork, whether or not, how the first strings, offense, defensive line, how they're going at it with each other, and then obviously some of the defensive battles, and just seeing again, because they've done it and they've had success with it. How are the rookies and new players mixing in with the veterans when they get the opportunity to run with Mahomes and Kelsey and on the defensive side of football with Justin and them? And so for me, it's just seeing how much of the playbook that they're able to learn and that they're utilizing, showing out on the field, because then you got to transfer that from the practice field to the game field this weekend.
Is there somebody on defense who you feel has made the biggest leap, just your own personal opinion, not what everyone else is saying?
I'd say, looking at this, I'd say, nah, not for real. I mean, because I think for the expectations of what I expect, again, I'm not expecting much from the quote unquote rookies. I'm looking more so at the second year players and what they're able to do and spag the system. Because one of the things, everybody talks about how complicated his deal is. And so for me, okay, you're able to make these mistakes in year one. How are you not making the same mistakes, going into year two? Because look, man, I've always, I think Juan Thornhill was the first rookie to start in a Spags defensive system, and so for him to be able to do what he did and improve on it, you saw last year Trent McDuffie was thrown in, even though he got hurt the first game. Brian Cook, Justin Reed coming from Houston, even though he was a veteran. Carl Loftus getting a lot of snaps. We were expecting a lot from these players, and now Chris Jones might be absent, so you're going to be expecting more for these players to step up and kind of fill in the little gaps and holes. So for me, again, because of Chris Jones' absence, I think it's more pressure on the defense, which is what I'm going to be looking for. So more so this weekend, just to see what they're going to do and how this defense. And look, and Nick Bolton has said that they want to be a top 10 defense. The only way you're going to be top 10 is you got to go out there, you got to be able to stop the run and break up a lot of passes and stuff. So for me, Mahomes and the offense, they're going to do what they're going to do because they're going to score. But I want to see what the defense is going to do to keep the other team from going back and forth, scoring as many points. I don't want to see a 2018 defense ever again, as long as Mahomes is the starter. And so for me, I focus more so on the defense side of football because I want to, and I see somebody, Jalen Watson, he's someone that has been doing well, but that is someone who, but on the defense side of football, that's what I'm looking more so for early on in preseason and throughout the regular season.
You want to know what I like, Darren? I
Yes,
like
sir.
what Spags said at his press conference the other day. Like, I've been a Brian Cook guy ever since he got drafted here. I mean, I've been on the Brian Cook bandwagon. He's a guy that's not afraid to hit somebody, lay somebody out, let them know, hey, you better watch him. You come across the middle, you better think twice. So he said that he's challenging him to be more the quarterback on the defense. So
well, and he also said that he's going to be calling plays as well. He's going to be like that quarterback in the defensive backfield.
Right.
Even though Nick Bolton is going to be calling the plays, he's also going to be calling plays as well. So that's a lot of responsibility, and that's something that obviously that shows the type of growth that he's had. For Spags to put that on him and not Justin Reed.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see how he's going to take on that challenge more than anything.
Speaking of Kylie's favorite player, are we sleeping on him a little bit?
Who?
Justin Reed.
Oh, no.
We haven't been talking about it. I think, is he going to look more comfortable in the second year? Is he going to look like he looked in the Raiders game? Because that's the best. That's the most comfortable that he looked on the field. The playoffs in that Raiders game in the playoffs is the most comfortable he ever looked on the field.
When we talked to him this week, I mean, that's one of the things that he said, because I asked him that question, how does he feel going into year two? And I mean, he straight out said that, this, not to say that it's easier, but he's obviously not making the same mistakes that he would have in week number one. Now, he said that he's picked up 10 pounds of muscle from the off season. So, I'm looking for the Justin Reed that was knocking people's block off in Houston. That's what I'm looking for this upcoming season. Because again, if you want to be a top 10 defense, you need to be able to impose some physicality on it. So, so that's what I'm looking for, and I think that we're going to get that. So I don't think nobody's sleeping on Justin Reed at all.
Yeah, and I think he mentioned
we
how
need that too, especially with the absence of Snead. Snead brings a lot of physicality, so I feel like we definitely need someone else to step up and take that role on. Go ahead.
Like
sorry, Chuck.
And Justin Reed mentioned how he's had like 4 different defensive coordinators in 5 years being in the league, and he had to learn like a new system over and over and over again. And he mentioned how he finally has some consistency to where he be in the system for a minute and he'll get more comfortable. And then I think you're gonna see more production out of Justin Reed, just him just having comfort in Spag's system now. Like you ain't gotta worry about changes.
Chuck, hold on.
No,
Are you saying we should have played Chad Henne? Is that what he's saying? Kylie, I'm confused. Is he saying that by letting Chad Henne go? Okay, never mind.
Hey,
okay,
hey, Sporting Voice, DM me back, bro. I'm gonna send you that Super Bowl flag. Send me your address. I got you. DM me, bro. I got you.
But I'm
Don't even worry about it.
Get one of those.
Hey, but okay, around the room, like what, not the typical player. Who's your under the radar guy you looking at this week? I think I'm looking at Shamari Connor. I want to see what he looked like this week. Not the typical guy, somebody under the radar guy. Who you got, bud?
Well, not the typical. I mean, I'm big on the receivers this year. So I want to see Rice early. Of course, Justin. I want to see what he gonna do. I'm looking at them receivers. They've been talking about Scott Moore. I feel like the media has been campaigning Scott Moore these last 2 weeks more than the whole time.
Yeah.
Us three, we've been on this bandwagon driving and riding. But I feel like this last couple of weeks, they've really been buying in on Scott Moore. And I want to see that. I know we won't see much in the first preseason, but I'm definitely looking at them receivers, man.
You know what? He brings up a good point. I'm looking more so at Ross. But the thing is, it's going to be hard for me to get an idea what Ross and Rice going to do because during the season, they're only going to be, playing with Mahomes. And so if Mahomes is going to be out, after 1 or 2 series, and it depends on how much they play, I'm not going to get a true sense of what they can do because they're going to be catching the ball from, second and third string and fourth string quarterback. So I got to keep that in mind as well. I know, Boogie.
Yeah. Jay Ford
For me,
mentioned Denarius Prince. Yeah, that's definitely I'm looking forward to see it. Because I know Dave mentioned like they're not gonna fair catch him, they're gonna see what he's gonna do, returning kicks. And I've been hearing some comparisons with Niall Davis and all that, except he may be a little smoother runner than him. So I'm interested to see how that goes. And but another guy I want to see is Nico Remigio. He may get picked up by another team once preseason's over with, but hopefully not. But I'm interested to see what he's gonna do.
And I'm sorry,
I'm
sorry, Kylie.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say one other player, just because we're talking about receivers, is Cornell Powell. I mean, the Chiefs drafted him 2 or 3 years ago.
Yep.
He's been on practice squad. Like, bro, it's time to put up or shut up. Now, I don't know if he makes the squad because of the depth that they have right now. But as a draft pick, as a 5th rounder, I think that when the Chiefs got him a few years ago, he needs to show why he should be on the team. So.
And that was the one that me and Country always bring up. That Louis Riddick, somebody was leaking something to him to talk about Powell in the media, and we never got to see it. So yeah, I would like to see him do something.
Look, you trying to get me blocked again? I ain't going for it, bro.
Well, I ain't going. Ross and Powell were teammates, so so I need to see. I mean, we're hearing everything about Ross, but nothing really about Powell. And Powell, Powell started on that team, so he said he threw a Powell. Yeah. So so for me, that's someone else I want to see. With this weekend when I'm down there, see what kind.
What about you, Miss Winfrey?
You guys have all named offense, but I'm personally looking a little bit more towards defense. I'm looking, as you guys mentioned, we've lost a little bit of depth with our edge rushers. So I'm going to be looking at FAU. I'm going to be looking at BJ Thompson just to kind of see like what they're going to bring, what kind of depth we might have, what kind of speed is BJ Thompson going to bring. I think it's going to be really interesting, especially if Chris Jones isn't out there, what kind of where they put these guys and if we see anybody move inside like BJ or anything. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see the defense. I'm looking more towards that.
That's a good name, BJ Thompson. Can I co-sign that and add Coburn on there with you too, Kylie? Can I ride with
Absolutely.
you? I think he's another name. Ooh, that's a good name.
Yeah.
That's a good name.
I wonder how much we use. Yeah, I was just going to say that, Chuck. I wonder how much we use Drew in the preseason. He probably be more regular season when you pull him out.
What you go defense? What, two series for the starters?
Yeah, it's even that. But yes.
It's that might be if
we'll find
if
out
the offense goes down and scores, they're done for the day.
Yeah.
Pat's done for the day. So I expect to see a lot of Blaine Gabbert. Leo Chanel is a good name.
Yeah, definitely Leo. Because I'm hearing rumors about Leo lining up at edge in certain packages.
Yep.
So, what up, Clarence?
I miss to see they're gonna use him.
But
Mike Edwards is a good name too. I like Mike Edwards.
But keep this in mind: the starters, you really not. And the reason I say you're not going to see much of them because they don't do final cuts until after the third game. So you've got to play all these other players who are either trying to make the team or at least trying to get maybe decide who you're going to put on the practice squad or cut and try to sign back or whatever, or maybe try to trade them to somebody because so I don't see a scenario where you see a lot of these starters playing throughout preseason. It just doesn't make sense because you want to make sure that they're healthy for the start of regular season.
Yeah, I was tripping. Relax, man. I was tripping. Anyway,
I got an earthquake in his. I'm sorry.
Damn, you could have kept your mouth shut. But nah,
no, we all seen it.
Damn, this act like it didn't happen, man. Golly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Asshole. Nah, but
damn.
But I think we mentioned already Nick Jones. Nick Jones has been a popular thing that's been going on in training camp. So imagine to see how he's gonna do against a wide receiver, whoever he's gonna line up against and whatever side he's gonna play on. So I'm interested to see how that's gonna go. If he even gets an opportunity, like gets like a target thrown at or just whatever. I mean, I would rather like see how his footwork is and how he reacts to certain plays. So
one more player.
Listen, I might be hungry, man. I might be.
One more player that I want to look at is Matt Bushman because I'm starting to wonder, will he put somebody's job? Will he challenge somebody for a position now? Jody Fortson been getting hurt. Blake Bell.
You guys know I like to look at Jody, but he might be in trouble.
Richie is a good name.
It wasn't just me that's thinking like that, Kylie. Okay, all right.
Let me ask you about that.
I'm a realist. He's got some injuries.
Because low key, Matt Bushman was about to push Jody off the team last year until he got hurt.
True.
Let me ask Darren about that real quick.
I love Jody, man. We all rooting for. This is a PSA. Jody, we are all rooting for you, bro. But you got to stay healthy, fam. You can't. No more shoulder injuries. No more tears. No more sprains. You got to get on the field and produce, bro. Hey, you got to get on the field. You got to get on the field. I'm like Goodfellas. What Darren? Goodfellas. You got to go home. You got to go home. You got to stay healthy.
I ain't saying that.
We love you, Jody.
I might have to run him at the barbershop. So,
are you done? You done, bro?
I'm done. I'm sorry. I had to do a PSA. My bad.
Thank you. All right. So, Darren, let me ask you this, man. So, do you see Jody really being on the bubble? Is there a chance that he could be a surprise cut? Because I've been saying that. I've been saying that for a minute now that he could possibly be a surprise cut just because of the injuries, and we ain't seen much of him or seen enough of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just yes.
No, hey, I'm with that because he might come back and see the video, and I got to see him at the barbershop.
Darren, let me piggyback on that. Do you think keeping Justin Ross with how his body type is, do you think that will play a factor in getting rid of Jody Fortson also? Or you think it will be more Bushman and just staying healthy?
I think it would be more the latter because look, I mean, you got to remember, Jody came in as a wide receiver too. So I mean, Jody is valuable. It's the health part that becomes an issue because even though they have 4 tight ends, I mean, you can still line them up, and I think he might have lined up 1 or 2 times on the outside to where you could throw him, throw him a nice fade, and he can just he's 6'6", he can jump over and just extend himself up over everyone and get a touchdown. My issue with Fortson is I think he's, I think he likes social media more than playing sometimes. But
Okay.
but I like Jody. I like Jody. I'm just saying.
We all love Jody. We are all rooting.
I'm just saying. I just see the man. I just see the man on Facebook and Instagram posting his t-shirts and his tattoos and stuff. Like, bro,
he can keep doing that though. I'm good with it. He can just keep posting.
Yeah, he keep posting, but I mean, I just need my man out there on the field.
Okay.
Got those thirst traps up.
You would say that, Kylie.
I know, but
I know.
And for the record, I never had him in a parlay to where saying I need him on the field. I just want the man on the field just because he's an additional weapon for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, for sure.
Besides staying healthy, what are we all looking for? What is one thing you're looking for out of this preseason game?
Tackling, just like Spags said. For me, defensively, just tackling. Just because, as Spags said, shit, if they can't tackle, they got to go back to the very beginning when they get back to camp on Tuesday.
Cool.
Okay.
Anybody else got anything else?
Stay healthy.
Yeah. That's a given. Health is a given.
Yeah, health. Obviously, you want these guys to be healthy. Well, Darren, I know you're traveling to New Orleans to cover this game.
Yes, sir.
And do like the cheat sheet and all the other good stuff that you do down there. So, shout out to you and Steve on that. Okay, so you pretty much covered the league. So I'm gonna ask you about the Saints. What are some of the things that you see good from the Saints, or what are some of the things that could be a downfall for them this season?
One, the good thing I see is their defense. They signed Cam Jordan to that contract extension. I think their defensively, they were good last year. I think they're going to be better this year. Tyrann Mathieu and some of those other players got a year underneath their system, and got a year underneath in that system down there. Of course, the head coach was the defensive coordinator, so I think they're going to be even better. I do believe that having Derek Carr as a quarterback, they got somebody who knows how to play, plays at a high level. I think Jameis Winston, even though he's the backup there, I think he'll still be good if needed be. But I think offensively is going to be dependent upon the health of Michael Thomas. If he's healthy and can be the Michael Thomas that we knew prior to his injury, the Saints will be a playoff team because I think they can win that division.
Yeah, that offense could definitely be something special. Michael Thomas gets back to health. The one thing I'm concerned about with the Saints is, even though they got all this talent, man, is Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen has yet to have a winning season as a head coach. Like, he's been a good defensive coordinator, a solid defense coordinator, but him as a head coach, it hasn't gone well. Just dating back to his time with the Raiders.
I mean, yeah, but you go from Sean Payton with Drew Brees to what he had last year. I mean, they didn't really have a good team last year, and again, he had some injuries. And Chris Olave, and sorry, I forgot about him. He's going to be much better year 2 in the system as well. So you put those two together. They were fortunate enough to only be without Alvin Kamara for the first 3 games of the season. So I think they can weather that storm.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but I think they can weather that storm. But I do trust Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not going to make the mistakes that the quarterback that that was playing last year did. So, I mean, look, if they can withstand injuries, I think the combination of with Carr, Kamara, Thomas, Olave. I forgot who the tight end is. I think they brought their tight end back.
Jawan Johnson, Taysom
right.
Hill. Yes, they brought Jimmy Graham back.
They brought. So I mean, I think offensively, I think offensively, I think they'll be good. And defensively, I think look, they were already good to begin with. They just didn't have the offense to go with it. I think this time now it's going to be more balanced. So I like New Orleans a lot this year, especially to win that division.
Yeah, that defense definitely looks strong. Then, like, Colin. I mean, what I'm seeing, they got him starting. That's what I'm seeing right now. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
official or not, but I mean, that's what I'm seeing here. And then Pete Warner, he's an underrated guy. He's always been solid, but he's a guy that's injury prone, kind of. But then you still got Lattimore back there in the secondary. You mentioned Tyron. You got Marcus May and Alontae Taylor. He's a guy to watch for because he was pretty solid last year, playing corner. So.
Yeah, I mean they got bodies down. Of course, you got championship folk down there, and Colin and Tyron. So they got. I mean that adds to their defense. So they know what it takes to win.
They got Dirty Dan too.
I think he
Don't
got
forget.
Nah, they let him go.
I think
They let him go.
Yeah.
Oh, we need.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Dan so and son.
I was still trying to figure out how Jonathan Abrams still getting jobs though.
Man, that boy. Woo.
I love
Sweet.
when we played against him. I love when we played against him, dog, because that dude was always looking to hit somebody, man. His awareness was just so bad, dog.
Man,
It was just easy to
Travis
pick on.
Kelce love him.
Yeah.
Didn't he get injured his first game when he as a rookie when he out for the season?
Yeah.
the dude.
Yeah.
Good guy.
So
Let's talk. Are we
Go
going to
ahead,
talk about EB? Are we going to talk about EB?
Yeah,
Let's
let's
get
talk
on it,
about
Tyler.
EB before Darren get out of here, please.
Break it down, Kylie.
Hold on, man. Y'all kicking me off or something? I mean, I'm good.
No.
Oh,
I just want to make sure we
yeah.
get this conversation before you got to go.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
Break it down, Kylie. How you feel about the situation?
I mean, I think the Commanders are kind of soft. I think it's
ain't no kind of.
right. I don't know if I need to get into the situation, but basically, Commanders, players, coaches are saying that EB's coming out a little strong, that the way he's coaching is a little too intense. He's a little more salty, not as much sweet, or sour, not as much sweet. So, personally, I feel like you've seen him come from a winning organization. You've seen a lot of really great players say really great things about him. And you've seen him have success with how he coaches. So I think they're just being soft personally. And I think that Rivera probably handled the situation poorly and how he kind of just aired their dirty laundry. I really hate that EB's getting hate because I feel like he needs a really great, clean slate and a start that we can really prove himself. And this just doesn't feel like we're not even out of training camp and they're already hearing shit like this. So it's frustrating as a big EB supporter like myself, but I want to get your all's takes because this has kind of been bugging me.
Why did Ron Rivera volunteer that information? That's the first question.
Right.
I don't get it.
The conspiracy theorist in me is thinking that he knows that he's probably going to get fired this year if they're not successfung. Now, the thing is, you got a new ownership group that is coming, and so one thing new owners want to do, they want to have their own coach, their own quarterback, and stuff like that. I could see a scenario where he feels threatened because if he was to be fired, they think that he thinks Eric Bieniemy might be the next man up. Well, I think he says what he says, and if you caught his comment, he talked about Jack Del Rio. Said Jack Del Rio being the head coach knows how to adapt or whatever. Eric Bieniemy hasn't been in that situation, so if he were to get fired, he would want Jack Del Rio to be named. The
successor,
versus Eric Bieniemy. That's what I think, and so go ahead, Chuck.
No, I just hold on to L because that would be such a loser move.
Oh
to
yeah,
promote Jack Del Rio instead.
But I can see with Magic Johnson with his little 4%. You know what I'm saying? Ownership. He'll be the first to be like, no, we need to have Bieniemy be promoted because it looks better. But I'm with Kylie, and I posted yesterday. I said, man, these are some soft ass players because one, you're gonna run to the head coach and tattle. Like you grown ass man. And the thing is, and Rivera to me made himself look bad trying to make excuses for talking about the programs they came from. Like, are you serious, dude? Like, as the head coach, I'd have been like, I mean, how did you play last year? This man's coming from winning the second Super Bowl, and you questioning. I mean, obviously something worked. And you got pussies like Shady McCoy.
Say it again. Say it again.
Talking about when people say, oh, he gets the best out of you, and he don't call no plays. pussy, your ass was starting and you got benched because you kept fumbling the football. And you upset because Andy Reid sided with Eric Bieniemy versus you. I ain't telling you what I heard, I'll tell you what I know. And so,
Mhm.
I mean, when you get that, he's really the only player out here talking bad against Bieniemy about his coaching style. But the thing is, Mahomes, Tyreek, Jamal, all these players are talking about, what he does for you, but he will say the same thing. He's the same person from player number 1, Patrick Mahomes, all the way down to, saying player number 53. And at the end of the day, like I said, at the end of the day, he's the same mean cuss as he is to everyone else, and he's also the biggest cheerleader along with the biggest critic. But the thing is that literally, I know somebody posted a clip of the one with Remember the Titans with
Yeah, remember the
Denzel.
Titans? Yeah.
But I mean, but it's really like that. He wants to demand perfection because that's what it's going to take to win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he's pulling the first string offense out because they're not getting back to the ball fast enough, well, what the fuck you think that's going to do in the game? You're going to get a penalty for a delayed game.
Mhm.
I mean, to me, he's trying to coach errors and stuff out that, because I think somebody has said that they, saying that they hadn't, been going this fast in practice before. Well, there's a reason for that. So
Right.
if you're practicing the way that he wants you to practice, you're going to play the same manner, and it's going to pay dividends for you in a real game. So,
and that's how you
Well,
know.
and don't you
That's
want like a culture change or like something? You need some change in there. So if the coaches prior to that weren't bringing this intensity, obviously you saw how well that worked for you. Like, don't you want someone new in here, fresh mind, like fresh eyes, someone who's going to give you, I don't know, fresh advice?
And look, I'll be honest. If I'm Josh Harris and all that went down, I'd be calling Ron Rivera to my office like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why are you trying to make me like either they get their act together or they go?"
Mhm.
I mean, I can't. And look, I've seen on some of these shows. I think who was it? Greg Jenner and a few others talking about, this is a new day. No, quit bitching up, quit being a pussy. You know what I'm saying? Take some tough love, tough coaching, and get your ass in because otherwise you don't have to worry about winning the Super Bowl because your ass ain't gonna make it into the playoffs.
Right. I mean, that's all. Here's the thing, Darren. Like,
I'm sorry because we probably got kids watching, so they probably.
Darren, you good?
It's bedtime. It's bedtime.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They should sleep by now anyway. But Darren,
But it's
I'm
for
with you on
mature
all this.
audiences only.
They got me dressing and stuff.
I'm with you on all this, man. Because like when I saw that, I said, first of all, what Robert Darren should have did is like tell his players, like, look, shut the hell up and do what he say. He's trying to make y'all better. Y'all haven't won a damn thing in I don't know how long. Shoot, y'all ain't won a Super Bowl since the '90s. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. Now, this is just me. If I heard Rivera say that, and I don't know whether or not they talked the same day or whatever, but that next day, I'd have came in with both Super Bowl rings on. I could like if you got a ring, of course, Byron Pringle, but of course they played under him, so they know what's up. But if you got a Super Bowl ring, you know what I'm saying, on this offensive side of football, then you put yourself out there and we'll do it your way.
So you feel me? So
Facts,
like
exactly.
It's just crazy how Ron Rivera would tell me all this stuff afterwards. And I saw Quinn say he slipped up. I'm like, look, Ron Rivera done slipped up one too many times in his coaching career. So I ain't trying to hear nothing.
He knew exactly what the hell he was doing.
Exactly. He know what he's doing, man. But
and he's from the Andy Reid coaching tree, so you would think he would know better.
Hold on. He played for the Chicago Bears. The motherfucker know. I mean, look, he's a fucking defensive player. Like, I mean, coach yelling at you. What the fuck?
For real.
I mean, we all got yelled. I mean, outside of college. I mean, if we played ball in high school, we all got yelled at. What the fuck?
I got yelled at so many times playing my sports too. It's part of it. And how are you supposed to improve if you're not getting, like, if you're not giving direction or insult to like I'm over it. I'm pissed about it too. I'm all fired up.
And look, and I ain't gonna lie, I support Eric Bieniemy, saying from the cradle to the grave. I want him to get his chance as a head coach. I parroted that. I did whatever I could trying to put his name out there and promote him on, however I could while he was here. Man, look.
And to his credit, EB handled it
as a professional
perfectly in the press conference. So He's showing
That
he
winning
can
smile.
be. He's showing he can be a coach because
and the enemy has
he
won
didn't
at
go
every level.
crazy. He handled it perfectly in the press conference.
He's won at every level. He won a national championship at the starting running back for University of Colorado. He played, he was a starting running back for the Chargers when they appeared in the Super Bowl against the 49ers. I mean, and hell, he was the OC. Whether motherfuckers want to give him credit, just like they don't want to give Orlando Brown and some of these other players credit, motherfucker was the OC for 2 Super Bowl championship teams, and they can't take whatever you want to say. You can't take that shit away from them.
Big facts, man. I've been a strong opponent of Eric Bieniemy supporter myself, man.
Proponent, man. Hold on, I ain't gonna let you just come mess up the English language. Strong proponent. You wasn't an opponent, or you were a proponent.
Okay, well, I said it wrong. My fault.
I'm messing with you.
But you know, but
I
but
got
you
you,
get, you
brother.
get what I'm saying, right? Yeah.
No, of
So
course.
yeah, I've been an avid supporter of Eric Bieniemy, man, because I mean I like I like how he's improved the team, and like you saw the former Chiefs players come out, man. You saw Gary Deer call out the Washington team soft, and you saw Tyreek Hill coming out calling them soft, and you saw Jamal Charles coming out saying, "Look,
Yep.
you may
Willie
not
Gay
like
called him soft too.
You said who called him soft as well?
Willie Gay
Yeah,
called him
yeah.
soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all kinds of Chiefs players, former and current, was calling them soft.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I really wish that we played the Washington Commanders just so they could run the score, but then it wouldn't look good on Bieniemy. So I'm kind of glad we're not playing either.
Fair point.
Don't worry, we'll beat the Eagles for him.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they could beat. I mean, they've had no issues with the Eagles. I mean, it seems like every year they always get one game on the Eagles, whether they bad or they decent. So,
But to be honest, look, outside of hoping that my parlay slips, hit this season, man. I mean, I really want to see, how well the Washington Commanders do, because I'm rooting for Eric, because the thing is that he literally has carte blanche to that offense. So if they're putting up points, Ron Rivera is not going to get the credit. That credit is going to go to Eric Bieniemy. Now, whether or not whether or not that transfers to a job, remains to be seen. But the team's success is going to be based off of what he's able to do with that offense.
If he wins 10 games in Washington, he deserves a job. Period.
Easily, without a
Period.
doubt.
If he wins 10 games, Ron Rivera better have another heart attack or something and just call it quits.
Hey man, you can't say that.
Jeez.
You can't say that, man.
Hey man, hey man. The man did my boy wrong the last couple of days, and then he called himself apologizing or clarifying himself by reading off a slip. Nah, man, I'm good. I'm good on Ron.
Hey, Darren, I'm gonna take it a step further. With
I don't want
how
the man
you,
to die, though. Hold on. I don't want the man to die.
not to die. But you said you think it's a conspiracy. I think Ron Rivera wants to get fired now, and I'm going based off last year until now. Remember, he forgot that they got eliminated from the playoffs. Like, he's the head coach. He didn't even know they could still make the playoffs. Like, that's not a coach that wants to be there. Then,
I
like
thought he
you
was
said,
gonna quit. I thought he was gonna quit too. Actually.
then, like you said, the dirty Mac in comments. It's like, what is he really? I mean, because why would he really air that out in the media like that? Like, it don't make sense. It seems like somebody that's know that the ship is about to sink, and he's just trying to save himself.
I don't disagree. But again, like I said, I think the conspiracy might be that he wants, if he's to get fired, he'd rather have Jack Del Rio be the head coach versus Eric Bieniemy.
That was the hurting part right there. That he said that, well, Jack's been a coach. He know better. Eric ain't never did this before.
So what the fuck I gotta do with anything? Right.
That's what I'm saying. I don't mean nothing.
Yeah,
You can coach.
I believe but he might have a point. He might be trying to walk himself out the door. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm leaving y'all with. Because I really didn't think he was gonna come back after last year anyway. He was sick.
I don't think he's gonna do that because I don't think he's built like that. Besides, because if he retires, he ain't gonna get that money. You get fired, it's different now. But if you get fired, you at least want to try to go out on the sword and try to win games before you just don't want to quit. So yeah, and you don't want to get fired just for saying something stupid. I think that you rather get fired because you're losing games, but you don't want to get fired just before the season starts.
But them Commander players that's complaining, that's definitely not a good look, though, man.
No,
It was one
fine.
player that I heard come out and say that he think that'll benefit, and that's Antonio Gibson. And I'm drafting him on fantasy. I'm drafting him on fantasy.
Hey.
How long did it take him to come out? 1 or 2 days. How long did it take him to come out?
Do you think Andy Reid called Ron and said, what was that, bro? What you doing?
No, from what Kimberly Martin said, that he kind of knew he fouled up that same day because he ended up going to the enemy and apologizing and telling them that this not what I meant and that's not how it should have came out. So that's why the next day before reporters, he wasn't scared to talk to them, but the next day he went out there, with his little cue card or whatever to read what he meant to say off of his to the reporters, which again, that part is still kind of questionable as well.
Yeah. So, Darren, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up for tonight, Darren. Hey, man, appreciate you as always, man. You always have a home here on Kingdom Cast, bro.
For sure.
All you got to do is reach out to your boy, man.
He ain't got a home yet till he help us out with Gates. When he do that introduction, we can talk.
If you're able to sneak into the press box, I got you. Gang thing. If you can't sneak into the press
we
box,
need that sponsorship. You know what I'm talking about.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna try to make that happen at some point. But one more thing, Darren, before you go, man.
Sure.
You already got the suit picked out, right?
For New Orleans?
Yeah.
It got to be gold and purple at least.
Say, give a little preview. Give us a little preview. Give us a little preview real quick.
Well, hold on. Let me say this. So
you better not have no bees on either.
Hold on. You stupid. The new suits don't roll out until the first game. So what I do is in the preseason, I kind of bring a couple of suits back for the preseason games before. So, but I normally don't do this. But give me a second. So.
Oh Lord!
He's actually gonna bring it out.
He's about to go get the Malcolm X suit from the dance hall.
I didn't think he's actually gonna bring it out.
Hey, get your hand out my pocket, man.
Yeah, I didn't think he's actually gonna bring it out.
That brother's hungry. That brother is thirsty for knowledge.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna mention like the colors, but I didn't think he's actually gonna bring it out. But okay, sure, you get a little.
Hey, and while we got a moment, don't be tripping over wins and losses in the preseason, people. Don't bug out. It don't matter.
Right.
Right,
it really doesn't matter.
All right, so no man, don't do this. But
here we go.
This is what we doing for the game. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
No tie. We gonna hit them with the blue, white, and we gonna hit them with the I mean, just gotta hit them with a splash of red and stuff. So yeah, this is what we going with for the game Sunday.
Okay. All right, good deal.
That's nice.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you. Now I gotta
that's good.
Gotta fix my pocket square now. So yeah.
Shout to Ty White, man. Ty White.
Sure, it's my guy.
So. Yeah.
I like that you pay attention to the finishing touches. You got the pocket square. You got what is that? A little pin up there.
Come on now.
What you got?
Yeah, a little flower. Now you know how we do.
I like it.
He got that too. He like the guest preacher at the revival. He preaching on the last.
Hey, call it what you want, but hey. Let me just.
I won't hold you long now, Jesus. Hallelujah. I won't hold you long.
Stupid.
Dapper Darren.
Dapper Darren.
Once again, thank you, Darren. Shout out to Darren Smith, host of The Ship. You can catch him on the Red Hour coming up this season. You can catch him with the cheat sheet pregame. Preseason game against the Saints. So catch them on there. It's on Facebook Live, on Twitter Live, YouTube Live, any platform you can find them on. So
yeah, thank you all so much. Really, it's a lot of fun. So have me back anytime.
For sure.
Appreciate
it.
All right,
hey, before we get to the sponsors, can I say something?
All right, go ahead, bro.
Chiefs Twitter and Chiefs Kingdom, we heard what y'all said, and we officially suspended D-Mac for 6 games. We just want to make sure everything was cool. We're gonna make him serve his 6-game suspension. We're gonna handle it in-house. We sorry about that, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Do we even go into this or no?
Shout out D-Mac, man.
Okay,
Shout out
D-Mac,
said
no.
We don't need to go into it. It doesn't.
The queen has spoken.
Look, we ride with
First
our
off
guy, okay?
vacation.
Exactly. We ride with D-Mac, so it don't matter.
We
Shout out D-Mac, man. He
we
knows what's
always
up.
gonna ride with D-Mac.
We believe
Period.
every word he
Respect.
said, yo. So, man, I don't know what these people are on, man. It's just weird. So, but whatever, man. He couldn't make it tonight. He had technical difficulties with his internet, but he'll be back. But yeah, let's go.
Right.
Let's go and get to the
Sunday,
sponsors before
right?
we get up out.
Chuck.
Yep. I'm gonna announce that after we get to the sponsor real quick. Okay, so what's that? Didn't WWE have like a Summer Survivor Series that just ended?
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. Okay, yeah. All right.
It
Yeah,
was
that just ended.
amazing.
Yeah, that just ended. All right. So yeah, 20% off all WWE apparel today on that website. Check it out. Hammond's got this new Team Essentials line they got going on. It's like a hoodie and hoodie and jogger combination that got going on. So all 32 teams, you got that going on. You got your
Still
Power
hungry?
Tee still. And then your regular go-to collection. So go and copy some gear and pay homage. And homage gonna come with something new. Seems like they're gonna come with something new every week. So be on the lookout. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and talk to y'all about the fantasy football deal. That's almost done. I'm gonna announce that either tomorrow or this weekend. We're gonna do like another live draft. We're gonna be out at a venue, whatever. I'm still locking up the venue, so we're gonna have that announced all soon. So if anybody wants to get in, be first come, first serve. And if there's enough interest, probably run 2 leagues this year. So,
Stop.
there's that news. Other than that, man, anything else we got going on?
Yo,
We got football.
Yes.
It's
we got
back.
football.
Yes.
We got football back.
Last
Sunday,
Sunday without
baby.
a game. Hey,
We got one.
hey, chill out. Possibly, if you're interested in doing the Madden tournament, hit us up. Hit me, Charles, or hit the Kingdom Cast. See who interested. But that might be a possibility. Hey, dog, shoot.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. By the way, we're doing a post game show after the preseason game on Sunday for the Saints. So yeah, we're gonna catch us live, get our live reactions to what we saw out there. So yeah.
What time can we start drinking Sunday, Colin?
Uh-oh.
8? You said 8?
8?
Bet. I heard it. Thank you.
Sunday,
We locked
you
in.
gotta have your mimosas, your red beer, whatever, your Bloody Mary.
We
whatever
start
it is
slow.
you need. Yeah.
Okay.
How else are we gonna prep for this Germany game? Like, we gotta be ready.
Oh Lord.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Oh, Lord.
That's gonna be. Woo.
So every Sunday,
Shout
start a little early.
Shout out Cobra Todd for the donation. Shout out what was his name? JMEX or something like that. He was tweeting from he was chatting from the Twitch account.
From the Twitch.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Much love, man. We appreciate y'all.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir.
Yep. And one last thing.
I'm trying to get Boogie to do some shows on Twitch, but he tripping.
Madden coming out, man. We about to get it popping, man.
Right.
I'm gonna hold you to that, sir. Remember you said that it's on videotape.
And one last thing. Even after this episode goes off the air, you can also there's also an option called Super Thanks. So if you want to donate to the Super Thanks, we'll take those as well. Everything that you guys donate is going towards the show to improve the show. So the show's gonna get better and better from here on out. We've been working hard behind the scenes, man. So we got some stuff lined up, man. So stay tuned. All right. With that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share all your social media platforms. Till the next episode, we out of here, y'all.
Arrivederci.